All right, welcome to Agitech on the Network, and today too I'm going to take you through my analysis. And today I'm looking at something unique, something on weather, and this is a work done by the Ghana Meteorological Agency, and this was the 18-hour prediction that they made, and we saw the results on 29th of June 2026. The prediction that we saw its reward and brought many issues to Ghanaians. And this forecast forewarned Ghanaians to prepare themselves for heavy rainfall, and it really came to pass. So I've gone for the data, and I have to attribute it to them because it is their data, not my data. So yes, this data is from the Ghana Meteorological Agency. So on my dashboard, I have represented the data in different features. So on my left here, I have the forecast, the possibility of rain, sunshine, or the nature of the clouds or the weather that you're going to see. So here was the prediction, and here is the temperature, and the next one is the weather conditions. So if you see these ones, they are the weather condition, whether you're going to see thunderstorm, you're going to see rain, or the parts of the regions or the part of the areas that you're going to see whether rainfall or sunshine. So the forecast was made within 18 hours. So within 18 hours, around that time, this was what you were supposed to expect. The percentage of rain, if it is supposed to rain, the percentage of rain that the possibility of rain that will fall, or the possibility of rainfall or sunshine around that area. Now, so I have put the cities, and it was across the whole regions in Ghana, the 16 regions in Ghana. So I have the regions here, and I have the predictions here. So I have in on that very Monday, the morning prediction, the afternoon prediction, and you have the evening prediction. Now, when you see these ones here, this one gives us the total amount of the weather condition in the morning, which is around 930% of either rainfall, the conditions that you may expect the weather to be around that time. All right. So the temperature also running that time is also totally across the whole region. It's been put together. Then I've also found the average temperature around that the time, the average weather and the average temperature, both in the morning, the afternoon, and the evening. So let's go through and check. And I've put them into regions. So on my right, I've put them into regions. Then also, I will take you to a map. I will take you to my map. I'll take you to the map whereby everything that you are doing here, you're going to see them. So let's go there and come back. So this is the map of Ghana that have been presented, showing us the areas that the weather conditions have been predicted and what are going to happen from the morning to the afternoon, right? From the morning, afternoon, and evening. So let's go back and all right. So let's look at the Ahafo region. The Ahafo region. And you know, before we had the Bono Ahafo region, but now it has been divided. So you have the Bono, and you have the Ahafo. So let's look at the Ahafo region. The weather condition that was predicted. So in the Ahafo region, the weather prediction was around 40%, and that 40% the temperature was around 23, and the weather that's supposed to have around that area was what was mist. Means the possibility of rain, the likelihood is around 40%. The condition around that time was what, around 40%. Now let's look at in the afternoon. In the afternoon too, the weather was around 40%, and the expectation that it will rain. That means that the expectation that it will rain was around what, 40%. The possibility that it will rain was around 40%, and the temperature was around what, 32 degrees Celsius. All right, let's look in the evening. In the evening too, now the area specific, the Ahafo region, the area specifically, you are talking about Goso. So you see, let me zoom in a little so that you can see. So the area specifically, you're talking about what? About Goso. So you see Goso. All right. So we're looking at it in the afternoon and the what? And in the evening. So let's go back. Let's return. All right. Now let's look at now. Okay, so you're talking about Goso. So in the evening, temperature or the weather was around 40%, and the temperature was around, in the evening, was around 27%, and there was a possibility that rain, the possibility that the rain was around 40%. So let's go to the next one. Let's look at in the Asante region. In the Asante region, we had, in the Asante region, totality was around, the weather condition around there was around 120. The possibility of the weather condition there was 120%. Yeah, the weather was not clear. It will be moist. It will be moist, or it will be mist. It will be mist. So the temperature around that time was what, 24, 25, and 25, and you can see that those areas that they were talking about was what, was Ejura, Kumasi, and Owasi. Now let's look at something again. So the prediction was around 40%. That the clarity of the weather was around 40%. The clarity of the weather was around 40%. Both Ejura, Kumasi, and Owasi. You understand? Now let's look at it in the afternoon. So in the afternoon too, in the afternoon, the same 40%. But the prediction was that it might what, the likelihood of rain, and that rain would disturb, and that rain would disturb, and that of Ejura, yes, mostly cloudy. The weather wasn't clear, and you know that June is the season that we expect much rain, and the Ghana Meteorological Agency forewarned us to prepare that anything can happen within this temperature range, or within this magnitude around this time. That was around 12. That's midday. That was how the weather was going to be. All right, let's go back. Let's go back to the next one. Let's check the Bono region. So in the Bono region too, we had Sampa and Sunyani. In the Bono region too, we had Sampa and the Sunyani. And in the morning, yeah, it's predicted that the weather around that time, that which means in the morning you're talking about 6 thereabout. Yeah, the weather condition was around 40%, and that 40% meaning that the weather wasn't clear. But there might not be the sun appearance, or the seeing the sun will be very, very difficult around that time. And in the afternoon too, yes, the possibility that there might be rain or sunshine, and the weather wasn't also clear, meaning that the possibility of rain, but that rain will come with what? With wind, was around what? 40%. It will come with wind, was around what? 40%. All right, now let's move to the evening. Now in the evening too, temperature among Sampa and Sunyani was what? Was Sampa was 26, and Sunyani was 25. Understand? And we expected that there might be what? There might be rain among these areas. There might be rain among these areas. And that rain will come with what? With wind. That rain will come with wind. Let's move on. Let's move on. Let's move on. Let's move on. So let's see let's look at the central region. The central region. So the central region too. What do we have there? The central region. Let's see. So in the central region, look at how it is. So in the central region, the weather prediction was so in Kaswa. That's why Kaswa we had the flood. So look at Kaswa. Look at Kaswa. Look at Kaswa. Almighty Kaswa. So look at Kaswa. You see, look at Kaswa. So that's why we saw heavy rainfall in Kaswa. So among Winneba and Kaswa, so look at it carefully. So among Winneba, the prediction was around 60%. 60%. And in Kaswa, it also around 60%. So yes. And let's look at what the weather. The weather was what? Let's look at the weather. The weather was what? There might be the possibility of rain. And that rain might come with wind. You see, the possibility of rain was very high. Was very, very, very high. And temperature around this area was very low. And meaning, as you're supposed to understand, when temperature is low, it can determine the variety of issues. You understand? Yes, but they know better. I'm also doing my part to just show you the representation. I'm showing you the representation of the data and what it meant. What it meant when it comes to analysis. All right. So that's how. So that was the episode. That's why you can see. So you could see that in Kaswa, the rain that came there, or the rainfall was heavy, and it affected a lot of people, houses, and I also bow my heart to those that were affected. But that of let's look at something unique here. That of Cape Coast, you see, Cape Coast was in the morning was very low. So Cape Coast in the morning was very so Cape Coast. You see, so you can see that Cape Coast were around what 24%. The possibility of rain was around 24%. Was 30%, but the temperature there was very low. Was around what 24%. Then in the afternoon, Cape Coast has the highest. You see, and Cape Coast had the highest because Cape Coast, you expected that there might be rain. There might be rain because temperature around Cape Coast in the afternoon was what? Was around 29%. And that of Kaswa and Winneba was around what, 30%. Was around 30 degrees. Temperature was around 30 degrees Celsius. 30 degrees Celsius. Then the possibility of rain was around 40-60%. 40-60%. Okay. Now let's look in the evening. But in the evening, temperature was low. The possibility of rain. But you also expected that the cloud was not clear. The cloud was not clear. So let's look at the temperature around those areas. The three cities, Cape Coast, Kaswa, and Winneba. The temperature was very, very low. 25. But according to the Ghana Meteorological Service, the cloud most cloudy. That means there was the possibility that it might rain, but temperature indicating that there might be rain. But the amount of rainfall or whatever might happen within that specific time was not predictable. All right. So this agitated network, and yes, I use data to tell story. So that's this my little work on what happened on the 29th of June 2026. The heavy downpour that affected many lives. So I've used the data to represent or to tell the story of how the thing took place. I can still go further. Now let me go to the Western region. That's my area, the Western region. So in the Western region, Western region has been divided into two. You have the Western region and you have the Western North. So let's look at Western region. What do you have for Western region? What do you have for Western region? So in Western region, we had what? We had Takwa. In the Western region, we had Takwa. Then look at the percentage of what? And these areas, yes, we expect much rain because the western region is the area that we mostly know that it is a forest zone. The western region is a forest zone. Yes, we have the Ankasa forest around this area, that and the Axim, those areas. So you can see that temperature, the possibility of rainfall around Azim, or the weather condition around that area, Azim was 30%, and that of Takwa was 40%, and Takrady was also 30%, and temperature around these areas was 24 25 degrees Celsius, 24 25 degrees Celsius. So yeah, look at the weather. The weather was mist, and which means that the sky wasn't clear, that there was a possibility that there will be, and really Takrady was also affected by the rain. Takrady and Takwa, Azim, those areas were also affected by the rain. Now let's look at in the afternoon. So in the afternoon, the possibility of rain, or the weather condition around that was what? Was 60%. So look at Azim. Look at Azim, 60%. And that of Takrady was 40, and Takwa was also 40%. And temperature around this time was what? Was 29, 13, and 29. So yes, the possibility, the weather was what? Yeah, the weather was what? It was tender. It was tender rain, tender sun. The tender. All right. So let's go to the evening. Let's look at the evening. Azim in the evening. Yes, the possibility of rain, but in Takrady the prediction was what? Was very low. The prediction was very low. Takwa was very low. Then let's look at the temperature around this time. So look at Azim. Yeah, the possibility of rain was very high. Look at it. See, the weather wasn't clear, and they see the rain, what was going to fall, and possibly rain fell. Understand? So this is how the things that happened on the 29th took place. So on my dashboard, I'm trying to use the data to inform you of how things happen. Let's look at the Western North, and I think I can bring it to an end. The Western North. So in the Western North, we're looking at Sehi, and Sehi Bekwai. Sehi Bekwai. So among the Sehi Bekwai to Sehi Bekwai. So let's look at Sehi Bekwai. The weather around that time was 40%. The weather condition was 40%, and it was what? It was mist. Understand? And temperature was around 24%. Then when you come to the afternoon, Sehi Bekwai, it was mostly cloudy. It was mostly cloudy. Understand? It was mostly cloudy, and temperature around that time was what? Was 32 degrees Celsius. Let's look at in the evening. In the evening too, the weather condition around that time was what? Was 40%. And then it was tender rain. Understand? It was tender rain. All right. And temperature was around what? 24%. So let's look at the Volta region. Let's go to the Volta. In the Volta region too, you have we had a Aflao, we have Amalogan, and you have Ho, the Almighty Ho. You understand? The president was there a few days ago to tour the area and also tell them the good heart he has for them. Understand? So on the 29th, this is what happened. That was the prediction. So this is how I do it, and this is how it is done. So with data, you can tell different stories. With data, you can have different views of how activities took place, how events took place, and this can also help us to prepare ourselves and equip ourselves to make sure that we prepare so that incidents of such data that took place on the 29th of June never happen again. So we plead on the government to do very well, to make sure that gutters will be fixed. The Ramsey site that people have bought and bought their houses will be taken away, And you shall have good drainage system. You understand? You should have good drainage system.